right. Most geospatial training is very standard and software focused, but that's not what the jobs are like. In the United States alone, around 7,000 graduates come out of universities every year in kind of this environmental, geography, ecology, sustainability kind of area. That's all we'll find that many universities just as recent as a year ago were still on older versions of Esri software like ArcMap Desktop and only still teaching very basic labs and exercises with that. But the thing that's missing from all graduates is enterprise GIS, which is what an organization needs to hire as a geospatial analyst now. Colleges don't teach that, where the jobs are really demanding and asking for that type of skill set. So there's a gap there.
Hello and welcome to Horizons, the World Geospatial Industry podcast. Our guest today is Andres Abeyta, CEO Bootcamp GIS. Andres, thank you so much for joining this conversation.
Great to be here, Banu. Thank you for inviting me.
Great to have you here. Andres, you have been into geospatial training and education for decades, and you have been a witness to the evolving workforce needs of our industry, right? How has this prompted the founding of Bootcamp GIS, and what's your vision behind the company? Can you let our viewers know?
Yeah, well, it goes back to my history of why I kind of got into this industry. I got a degree in geography, but also a degree in teaching. So I was really interested in the education part of our industry. And my first jobs were teaching Esri certified training and teaching, doing training for ERDOS. But in both those cases, I was teaching very specific software functionality and not really organic project-oriented processes. So I suggested that into those companies, but it didn't really catch on. So a couple of years later, I started my own company in the education geospatial space. And the first class that I created was called Project GIS. This was 30 years ago. And it was a mixture of GPS and ArcInfo and ERDOS. And if you think about it, that's what a GIS analyst was exposed to, those tools to actually create the products that your organization needed. So from there, we wanted to take our experience of doing this for a lot of federal organizations and put it online for anybody to consume. So now our purpose is to do tech transfer and geospatial in a really organic way that's project-based and lets people learn tech skills faster with a more diverse audience that can get exposed to that because it's an online platform.
Great. As you talk about Project GIS, it really rings a bell in me. I remember reading about it and learning about it too. So I'm so glad to connect with you over this conversation, and I'm sure we are talking about the hottest topic of the geospatial industry today.
Yeah, that's right. Most geospatial training is very standard and software focused, but that's not what the jobs are like.
Yes, exactly. On that note, I'm sure you agree that geospatial and Earth observation sector is growing rapidly, and it is increasingly witnessing a lack of trained and experienced professionals to support this expansion. Right. I would want to ask a few questions on this aspect. This is something close to my heart. We are seeing how the workforce needs are changing in the industry, and I would like to understand what are some of the new positions opening in various industries that require geospatial skills.
I'm glad you asked that question because I give this presentation, at least this discussion with universities and federal organizations and associations like yours. And I find that we, more than anybody, are really paying attention to the who is hiring for what skills, what the job is called, how much they're getting paid. We're focused on the job sector for geospatial. And when you know that, then you know what is it that we should be teaching people to get that job, because you can find a one-to-one match. So for so long, like I got my master's in geography, and all of my cohort that was doing things was doing stuff mostly around urban planning types of stuff or conservation. That's really the two most commonly taught uses of GIS. But in the recent statistics that I would look at, there's probably in the United States alone around 7,000 graduates that come out of universities every year in kind of this environmental, geography, ecology, sustainability kind of area that's all pretty similar. And that would be kind of quintessential how you apply GIS to, some riparian habitat. But another statistic that I ran into was in that same year, there are more than 500,000 graduates in the business degrees. 500,000 versus 7,000. So that, to your question, a business analyst that does site suitability for investments of the storefront types of organizations like Target or Walmart or Starbucks, that would be a job. Secondly, there is money in utilities. So any utility requires solution architects to put together the most complex data that I've worked with as a utility. And geospatial would be part of that, among other technologies. And then a third one is health informatics. I get a lot of people from the health sector calling us and saying, hey, we need to be exposed to GIS tools because I work for Health and Human Services, and we're trying to figure out how to get our services out to the demographic that needs us. So that means, more health professionals and more clinics and hospitals in certain areas.
Interesting. How technology is finding new industries and application areas. Great. So, what is when you say that they're coming and asking to gain some geospatial skills, what are the specific GIS or geospatial skill set these students or these employees are looking for, or a majority of employers in the US are currently looking for, especially at the entry level jobs?
Yeah, so we have tables that say what software that people should learn and then what other skill sets, but you can't get away from Esri being the number one piece of software. So since we talk to people around the world, we still find that many universities, just as recent as a year ago, are still on older versions of Esri software like ArcMap Desktop, and only still teaching very basic labs and exercises with that to university graduates. Not so much in the United States. People have gotten exposed to ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. So they dominate the market. That's the number one technical skill set from software. But the thing that's missing from all graduates is enterprise GIS, which is what an organization needs to hire as a geospatial analyst now. I don't want you to come in and make me a map. That's what I did. I sent the map to the plotter, taped it to the wall. 5 of my colleagues looked at it, and 3 were my friends, so they don't even count. So it was 2 professors. Not a lot of value out of me spending a year on my master's thesis. Enterprise GIS really is, can you come in and manage the end-to-end workflow of scraping data, developing a data pipeline, do the analysis, and then push it up into the cloud in a dashboard for all of our stakeholders to see? Colleges don't teach that because they don't necessarily have the experience with all that architecture and the various pieces of technology you need to do end-to-end workflows. So that's where they're the weakest, and where the jobs are really demanding and asking for that type of skill set. So there's a gap there.
So, how is Bootcamp GIS bridging this gap?
Well, every one of our classes is not going to be called something like Intro to Story Maps, Intro to Spatial Analysis, Intro to Geostatistics. It's going to be a project-based class based on a subject matter expert's real world use case of what they do for a living. And it starts with, hey, who are the stakeholders? What is the
Mm,
data I need? Where am I going to scrape it and pull it together from different data sources? How do I got to extract certain pieces of data or transform it using Python or FME? And then I get through some analysis, and then I better have some IT skills to know how to push these products up into the cloud on AWS. So our classes all do an end-to-end workflow like that, and they don't focus on a specific toolbar or extension within Esri. That's much more the software focused
mm.
functional approach that Esri has.
Fantastic. So one of the aspects I also see is the upskilling needs that are increasingly becoming important to cater to the evolving needs of the companies. What kind of skills, especially mid-career geospatial professionals need today? Would you like to share a couple of examples?
Yeah, mid-level. So probably 10 years ago, that was me. Um, so my degree would have been 15 years back. And it's easy to see that you can get lapped with the technology. Even if I had 15 years of experience, I could see people coming out and really wrestling with problems and creating products for stakeholders with the newest technology, had better
Mhm.
skills than me from the technical standpoint. They were using the latest software, and I was not using all the latest software. So, what that means is using the latest versions of the Esri software plus other add-ons. So, FME would be a good example. These days, um, data is evolving so quickly, and FME, built by Safe Software, whoever's the audience is a data pipeline creation piece of software. You can take data from format A, write a routine to get it into B, which fits into the layer stack of what serves your application, which could be serving a live application for wildfire mapping or for your city or disaster management for FEMA. You don't have time to be manually bringing in data for applications like those. It's got to be automatically done. So, learning the different pieces of core technology that are out there that go beyond Esri is a good thing to do.
Mhm.
Also, getting into Geo AI,
Mm.
that's on everybody's mind, and I would totally suggest all students that come into our program. We have a category of classes called Geo AI, so they get to pick um, their program of 6 course projects, and I strongly advise them pick one of those classes. Everybody needs that. And then really get into course, or it's not course, project management. Um, Mid-level people are never taught project management. There's no classes that I've seen anywhere in anybody's catalogs on that. You just kind of fall into learning it on the job. We have 2 classes on project management: how to manage a team, and then how to develop a strategic plan with forward thinking for your organization. So that's what I would suggest for mid-level GIS people.
Okay. Talking about your flagship buffering program, I wish to understand more about Bootcamp GIS online GIS certificate course. It apparently offers 6 courses, 6 projects in 6 months. How do you find instructors for such a program? What kind of instructors fit this program for you?
Oh, thank you for that question. So we kind of fit in the most popular education model, which is not 1 or 2 people teaches whoever comes in the room.
I see.
The more popular business model in education is the many-to-many situation. So YouTube is that, Khan Academy, Coursera. Many people have recent experiences wrestling with new technology and coming up with new solutions. And so, like, one of the things that I'll do is just walk through the Esri conference end to end. And I do it 4 or 5 times. And I go up to booths and I'll shake Banu's hand. I'll say, "Hey, my name's Andres. What do you do here?" And then I'll listen to your project and what you do. And in my mind, I think, boy, would a lot of other young professionals want to have that skill
Yes.
set? And if the answer is yes, then my next statement is, hey, how about you jump in with us and co-develop a class, and we'll put it on our platform and make it available for the world to consume. So that's my approach. And even if I'm not in person with you, someone, a colleague of yours, you might say, "Oh, I know somebody has a real sharp cookie that's putting together drone and AI technology for utility assessment of infrastructure. I think you should talk to him, Andres." And an email introduction happens, or we get connected on LinkedIn. So it's pretty organic like that. I just listen for people with good projects who want to help communicate how to do those to others.
So students get to mix and match and pick what they want to pursue, is it?
Yeah, we don't tell them what to take, like kind of college programs are real structured that way. For us,
Mhm.
you get to build your own program and it's a discussion. We'll make sure you get all the different enterprise skill sets. So
Yeah.
you don't do it in a vacuum, but together we jump on a Zoom call and we pick your program together and make sure you're
Mhm.
interested in it. And that becomes the thing that they go and they start and finish each class on their own timetable.
Interesting. So also this makes the program very unique and also skills rich. Is that affordable and marketable learning experience as well?
Yeah, it's skills rich because I tell every student, you know what? When you go to an interview, I'm trying to ascertain two things. Are you nice? Can I trust you? And the second thing is, I want to see your technical skills, how close they are to our job. And I
Okay.
never ask anybody about some class that they took back in college. Never.
Mm.
4 years, I never ask about those classes in your curriculum. But what I do ask is, oh, I see this internship or this part-time job or this project. And then all of our courses are projects. They're real use cases. So they will be on their LinkedIn profile, their resume, and that's what someone's going to ask them about. Um, so that's the key stuff that makes what we teach very marketable. Um, and along with that, we provide them career services, which all the students need. They're not really being served when they go into their career services building on campus, because if they walked in and says, "Hey, I want to get a GIS job. I'm just about to graduate," they'll say, "Yeah,
Mm.
come on in. By the way, what is GIS?" Because the career services building doesn't know. So we teach you with this, advise with a sensibility of here's the types of groups, conferences, companies, um, and um, organizations that you should be connecting with if you want to build a network of people who know what you do instead of working in a vacuum in a dark room learning. That's not good enough anymore.
Great. Fantastic. So on that note, I mean, who can take this course? Who is eligible? Is there any minimum qualification to take up the this course?
No minimum quals. Anybody can come in with any degree, not knowing GIS.
Mhm.
And um, we've designed our courses with that in mind. We do lectures and demonstrations of how to go through each part of the project. And
Mhm.
so, if that sounds familiar, YouTube does that all the time. I don't have any background in certification in car mechanics, but I can watch the video of a car mechanic disassemble the door panel in a certain way so I can go out and change the broken $15 window switch. So we have that same philosophy, and our students really appreciate that. It's not just lecture only, and then they got to figure it out. We're showing them a lot of the process.
Nice. So what type of career services do students utilize in the program?
Our career services are the best in the world for the geospatial sector because
Mhm.
we every year we do a GIS jobs report. We have a analytics scraping dashboard of like all of the jobs and what skills they're asking for. And then we have a career service dashboard that we give a login to for every student. And it shows the steps that they should be going through in a very structured path to do the
Mhm.
self-marketing and job application assisted with AI tools to help them improve their
Mhm.
chances to get an interview. Because without that, people are blindly pushing the submit button on Indeed, And they're in this, pretty routine story. I've applied to 200 jobs and only got 3 rejection letters and no other responses. So they're doing something incorrectly repeatedly over and over and over. We're showing them how to improve their chances by doing the correct approach. That's really things that you can do that um, really improve your chances.
So, Andres, I want to understand one thing. Once the students complete this course, what are some of the career pathways that open up for them? Any recent student success you may want to cite here?
Yeah. So the geospatial career field is very diverse.
Mm.
We'll get people who are new grads that need upskilling. So one example is a kid, a young man with a history degree, but he jumps on a call with me and says, "Hey, Andres, I don't have any classes in GIS, but I do like maps and I heard of GIS. Do you think I can do this?" And I said, "I don't know if you can be successful. Only you know that. But I'm going to put you in an environment that will um, give you the best chance for success. Learn the right stuff and connect with the right people." So he finishes our program, and 4 weeks later, he gets 2 job offers after the
Wow.
6-month program. And one of them from Esri, and he turns them down. And he takes this other job with a 3D modeling company. He's been in that job for 3 years now. And he took it just because it was a remote job, and he gets to stay in his home and has this career now where he was kind of feeling hopeless with just his history degree. So that's one example. Another gentleman was kind of mid-career. He was probably 6 or 7 years out of college, and he had a geography degree, and he couldn't get a job. So um, he didn't have enough skills. So he was doing pest control or wildlife control. Just imagine what that may be. And he takes our program and says, "Yeah, I want to get back to using my geography degree and get into the tech." So then he graduates, and then he does the networks to somebody in Alaska, and he ends up being called up there with his skills and being the lead GIS specialist for this area the size of West Virginia. It's huge, and he manages all the layers: the transportation, the wildlife, the water, the habitats, forestry, everything. So those are really 2 good examples of people that got the right training, started doing the networking, and found their way.
That's fantastic to know. Right, great. On that, a similar note, I want to ask you my next question. Um, GIS and geospatial data is being increasingly integrated into a number of solutions in every other sector, right? In that sense, how is Bootcamp GIS supporting the cross-skilling needs of IT professionals? Are you able to blend GIS with IT skills? How exactly can IT professionals benefit from these courses?
Oh, that's a good question. So I show a slide to new student candidates, and I say, "Here's what colleges typically teach," because I went through 2 geography programs and learned the same types of listed classes. And they were geographic principle focused, might have got you into ArcMap or ArcGIS Pro, and that's on one side. But then I show uh, this crevasse, and it's the skills gap. And on the other side is you got to have IT skills to be able to do enterprise GIS,
Yeah.
Python, photogrammetry skills, AI, machine learning, cloud with AWS. And all of those things are almost absent
Hmm.
from most college programs. And it's not just GIS, it's actually all degrees that have some form of tech. It's not the business model of a professor to keep up on that tech and be doing projects and figuring out solutions. They're doing something else. So they really don't have a command of all of that IT to be able to integrate and teach the students and develop labs and do projects. That's the rub. And that's the gap in higher education and what's going on with the speedy evolution of tech. So this is how we make up for that with a program like ours.
Fantastic. So, Andreas, is this course open to everyone across the world, or it's tailored to North American needs?
It's open to anybody in the world. I get calls from people in India, where you're from, Africa, Europe, Canada. Yeah, people can book anytime, and because we're not tied to a specific cohort timeline,
Yeah.
that allows people to take the classes on their own schedule and complete it in 6 months.
Andres, Bootcamp GIS is a very valued member of WGIC, and I see that you are taking a very active role as part of the Industry Academia Committee of WGIC as well. So I want to understand what encouraged Bootcamp GIS join WGIC, and how is your journey so far?
Well, I've just started. You've been a great welcome to interacting with some of the staff members there. But it was
Yes.
an easy onboarding process. Aaron Addison is the first person that I talked to that heard what I had to say about education, liked it, and says, "Hey, you'd be a valued member." So yeah, that was pretty easy to jump in. The global and scalable idea of our education.
Yes.
And how we want to bring more diversity and get more people getting these skills with whatever degree they have makes me very attracted to global organizations. I don't want it to be just US based. And so that's where I was very interested in talking to WGIC, joining as a member and getting more of the membership to be aware of, here's a very modern, scalable form of text transfer, and then we all work together to push that out to the audiences that we're in communication with.
Andres, my last question to you was just wanted to understand how you foresee the role of WGIC in making meaningful changes with respect to the evolving workforce development needs of the industry. What do you see the role of WGIC? How else can we create more meaningful change?
Well, that scalable idea, it means we share this platform with members. The members could use it within the organizations or for their clients or upcoming new people in workforce that might be working for them, because this must happen. The geospatial industry is so diverse, and the problem that we all have run into, most of us in this industry never were advised in high school by a counselor to say, hey, you should become a geographer and then learn this thing called GIS and then go off and make cloud map applications. There is no high school counselor saying this. So if we all said, hey, how'd you get into GIS? Who got in by accident? 99 out of 100, or maybe 100 out of 100 would say, oh yeah, here's my accidental story. I couldn't pass calculus, and so I took this geography class, and oh, it was pretty interesting. That's my story. So I want to use WGIC to help create a path on purpose for young people to understand this is a meaningful career path to protect the planet. We are all bound here with whatever background that we have, because we want to use data and technology to support decisions that protect the way of life, habitats, climate on the planet for the future of, future generations. So that's what I want to convey and rub shoulder to shoulder with others on WGIC to make that happen.
Fantastic. In fact, yes, you rightly said it's a very meaningful profession to support and protect our planet. And the entire industry is really working to raise the bar for the geospatial industry and also create more awareness and encourage more youngsters to take up this profession. Thank you so much for this conversation, Andres. I really loved having this chat over the workforce aspects of geospatial industry.
Thank you for having me, and for anybody who stayed on and listened all the way through. It's great to meet you.
Thank you so much.